everybody, in this video we're going to go through some of the basics of files within Teams. So within Teams, as we mentioned earlier, you have separate channels. So within those channels you can actually have files that are relevant for that channel. And so you simply go into the channel and then go into files. So what you can do is there's a few ways to get the files in there. So one of the most common ways is just simply to drag and drop. So you just drag them over and drop the files right in there. As you can see, they'll start uploading and they show right up in Teams itself. The other way that you can do it is just use the drop down menu here, and as you can see, what we have in here is some of the common documents that are part of Microsoft Office. So we can quickly create a document that just shows right up in the channel itself. And as you can see, when we create it, it opens it up. Now, one of the things I would like to show you once it opens up is, as you can see, it's opening up right within Teams itself. Now, that is actually really handy because when you're in Teams, it actually has a multi-user function. So you can actually, unlike a normal Office document where you're trying to share it on normal files and only one person can have it open at the same time, in Teams you can have multiple people editing it at the same time, and you'll actually see the edits that are happening from each other. So this is what that looks like. You can see right away that there's an icon showing who's typing where, and somebody else just typed in the note, and basically it shows up in real time while you're both editing the document at the same time. You can also start conversations on a document if you want to make particular comments about that individual document itself, and also comments. When you open the document, by default it's going to open the document in the actual Teams application, which again, as I mentioned, gives you a multi-user configuration. However, sometimes that may not be robust enough, especially if you're in like an Excel document and you're trying to do a little more of the formulas and stuff like that. So what you can do is actually click right here and we'll open that document in the actual desktop itself. As you can see, now we're in a normal Word document. It's still going to save it in the Teams channel when you're done with it, but it's going to give you the more robust capabilities of a desktop application. So when you're working in the channel, you may want to share files or share the documents themselves. So when you do that, it's actually kind of easy. So you can actually share, you can copy the link to the actual files in the channel itself, and as you can see right here, so if you were to email this to somebody and they clicked on it and they had access to this channel, obviously they have to be a member, they'll actually see the team. They'll click on that. It'll bring them right to this team. So you don't have to say, hey, go to this team, then this channel, then this folder. You can also do that right on the file level as well. You can copy the link to that file itself. So again, when you're referencing it, you can say, hey, I just made some modifications to this document. Can you take a look? Here's the link to it, and it brings them right to it. That's really key for those users who are used to emailing the actual documents themselves. Obviously, we don't want to email individual documents because now you have to worry about different versions being out of sync or who has what copy. Now all of the files stay in a central place, so you're just linking back to that original document, and they're viewing the original document and editing the original document itself. Okay, another thing that's going to be common for some of you is to actually take a particular document and you're going to want to either move or copy it or send it between channels. So you can do that very easily. As you can see, just clicking on the option here, we have the option to move the document, copy the document, and you can check it out if you wanted to basically make sure that you were the only one using it. So, but a common one would be to copy the document. So we're going to copy it. As you're going to see, it's going to ask us, where else do we want to send this? So we want to send this to another channel that's within this particular team. So we're going to actually select that and actually just copy it right there. And you'll see when we go into that other channel, and go into the files, here it is. It showed up as a copy. Obviously you can also move it if you wanted to. So another thing that I want to show you is how to find files. So obviously as you start using Teams more, you're going to have more files on there. They're going to be in a lot of different channels and you don't necessarily always going to remember where they are. So let's try and find a particular file. So basically what we're going to do is we're going to use that / like I showed you in the previous video, and we're going to do /files. And I'm going to type in demo. And as you can see right away, we have our demo file right there that we can find and open immediately. So that way we don't have to hunt and peck and try and locate it. So another thing I want to show you is on the files, you're going to have certain files that are going to be a little more active than others that you're going to use more often. There's a couple different ways that you can bring files to a little more attention. So one of the things that you can do is you can pin the file to the top, and what that does, it actually brings that little icon of the file up at the top header here. So no matter how many files you have in here, you can find them a little easier. Another way that you can bring it even more obvious is you hit this plus button up here, and you can actually create a tab with the file on it. So you're going to type in the plus button, you're going to hit the word, and actually what we're going to do is we're going to make this demo file, we want it to show up as a tab. So now look what happens. We have a brand new tab for this demo application, and obviously we can rename it to anything we want. We're not renaming the file, we're just renaming the tab to be what we want, and so that's another way to have a quick access to the files. So the next thing that we want to talk about is organization. So if we just have a bunch of files in here, that starts to get a little cumbersome. We want to do is start organizing. So to do that is real easy. We're going to do something, the same trick that we've used both on a typical folder in the old-fashioned way. We're just going to create a folder. And within that folder, we can then start organizing our files in different manners. And of course, we can move our files to that folder as simply as just clicking and moving it. Alright, so as you start using Teams and start having files, just as a normal scenario would happen, you may want to start cleaning up files. You might want to, you might have duplicate files, you might have old versions, whatever it may be, and you want to delete them. So there's a couple of different ways you can delete them. I'll show you the most common ones. One is that you select the file and you hit the delete button up here. Another one is that you hit the three dots on it and hit the delete here. Now, remember on this particular document, we had somebody else editing it at the same time. So watch what happens when we try and delete it. We're going to say yes. It's going to come up with a warning message saying that we can't delete it because somebody else has it open. So that's a nice little safety protocol that's in the system. So let's get rid of one that somebody hasn't been using. So we'll get rid of this one right here. Alright, so now that that file is deleted, let's say somebody deleted it by accident. How do we get it back? So what you're going to do to get it back is you're going to actually open up the SharePoint itself. So this is where we're going to kind of go under the hood of the actual application. Alright, so when we click on the Open SharePoint button, it's going to actually bring up a web browser. So I'm going to show you what the web browser looks like. So it brings us to right here. So this is SharePoint. The files are actually stored in SharePoint. You can see these are the files that we have. So how do we get back the one that's missing? Well, it's pretty easy. You just go right into the recycle bin, and here it is. So you check it, hit restore, and just like that, it is back. So here's our application back again. So you can see now our file is back here. Alright, so let's say, alright, we don't want that to happen again. I'll show you a little bit of an advanced trick here. So we can select this file, we can select the folders. What we're going to do is we're going to go over here into Manage Access. And we're going to say, okay, you know what, if somebody's a member, I don't want them to edit this anymore. I want them just to be able to view it. And so you can click on that, and now they can't edit it, they can view it, they can't accidentally delete it. So a way that if you want to post something that is view only to the staff, this is an easy way to do it. Alright, let's get back over into Teams. Alright, I'm going to show you one last thing, and it might be the most powerful part of the file usage within Teams, and that's this button right here, the sync button. So we're going to click on this while we're in this channel. We're going to get a message that is going to start setting up our OneDrive. So if you don't have OneDrive loaded, it's going to automatically start asking you, okay, can you load OneDrive? But essentially what it's doing is using OneDrive to synchronize between the PC and the team. So we're going to close out here, and I'll show you what that looks like on the file level. Alright, so what you can see is that now we're in a regular Windows File Explorer. This is just like on your desktop where you'd have a C drive, S drive, and all like that. But instead what we have is we have this overall organization menu item right here, and under here is our client products channel. So, and then you can see that our files are right in here. We can access them just as if they were on the local desktop. We can copy them, we can delete them, we can rename them, we can copy new files in here. We can treat it just like a normal file explorer. And so it's really easy, and it makes it nice and easy to drag and drop and not have to keep going into the Teams interface when you're creating folders, creating all those things. It's a little more of a natural and comfortable feeling that people are used to. The other thing that you can do is you now have the option, so you see this cloud is telling us that it's online only. So if we right click on this, you can see it has view online, but it's also this option that says keep on this device. So what that will do is now you can see it's green. Now there's actually a synchronized copy on our local device, so that when we're traveling and we don't have internet access, maybe we're flying or somewhere else, we can actually access these documents offline, and it'll synchronize back up to the server when they come back online. Okay, so those are the basics of Teams file usage. Obviously there's a lot more you can do, and there's a lot of things that you can get into. The point of this demo is not to go into the nitty-gritty, but to give you the basics of how to get around on a day-to-day, and then as you go along you can start exploring the more advanced features and work on them from there. Thank you very much. I hope you have a great day.